I would want to be the third best player on the team. And let's figure out who is currently the third best player on the team. I mentioned Brett Huff of Brendan's former affiliation, and I know he still has some friends over there and some good ties over to the Kings Herald. But you have Brett Huff putting out a poll for the Sacramento Kings. Who is the Kings' best player? And you had 620 votes on this poll. And in a absolute runaway, 79.2% of the vote goes to De'Aaron Fox. Brendan, first off, does that surprise you that it is De'Aaron? And then does it surprise you that it's by that wide of a margin?
It did catch me off guard.
Yeah.
It was a wide margin just because I thought Kings fans would be a little bit closer. But I'll tell you, I was one of those votes that no question in my mind clicked De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't this I'm hesitating because I don't want this to be disrespectful to Domantas Sabonis.
Okay.
He is probably the most important player on the Kings team,
yeah,
which I believe is a conversation that we're going to get to.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's close that De'Aaron is the best player. He does it on both ends of the floor. He's a very good defender, led the league in steals last year, which he will point out to you. A lot of those were on ball rather than off ball. And there absolutely is a reason to point that out. There is a lot of value in that. And offensively, who are you going to in the fourth quarter? Do you want Domantas Sabonis to try to get a bucket, or you want De'Aaron Fox to try to get a bucket?
Yeah, it's not a question.
And it's no question that it's De'Aaron. And sure, you got DeMar DeRozan on the team now that maybe adds to that a little bit, but it's not even close in my mind. And I know that Domas is the one getting MVP votes, and that's fine. It's the most valuable player. It's not who is the best player. And sure, those somewhat go hand in hand, but I think that everything that De'Aaron Fox can do on the floor is he can do a lot more than Domas can, I guess is what I'll say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to help, try and maybe help the understanding of maybe what I think you're getting at, because I'm pretty sure we share the same mind on this. I would say most important, the difference between best and most important is most important to me feels more so like who is the cog that makes everything go? Who is the person who, if you take them out of the lineup, let's say they're hurt or whatever happens, things go the most awry with them out. It's not even necessarily that, they couldn't, I guess it is in a way they couldn't survive without this person the most. If they were missing, this is the one that is probably the most irreplaceable. Maybe that's the right word to use, is more who's the most irreplaceable if you're looking for more of a Domantas Sabonis conversation. Because clearly, I mean, we see how the offenses run with the dribble handoffs and everything. Domantas Sabonis, I like to say, is the North Star of the team. Everything flows and runs through him first and foremost. And that's why I think there's the argument for him being, if you want to say, the most important or the most irreplaceable. But if we're just talking about the best player, who's the one who you can be dropped, an alien comes down from down to earth and is just watching basketball for the first time ever, and you ask them, who is the most special player on the floor? De'Aaron Fox just sticks out with his speed, his scoring ability, and he also just kind of carries himself in the right way. I think, Domantas Sabonis is a very, not to say De'Aaron isn't, but he's just incredibly selfless. He is a very fiery, passionate guy, but De'Aaron just carries himself like that dog. And again, I know that's not the most analytical thing you can say, but I really do just think you watch him and you see the tools that he brings. I guess, could you say he's the most talented player, or is even that not the right conversation?
I think talented is fine. I think that the speed absolutely stands out, obviously, when we're talking about all that.
Finishing ability too, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishing as well. He's up near 70%. And it's one of the ways that you see the athleticism even more so, when he's running like crazy as one of the fastest dudes in the league. The only way that I can personally really recognize it is by just looking at his feet. And I'm like, these are moving so much faster. It's
almost like Flintstones, Yeah.
Absolutely. Because sometimes he's just gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? More often than not, he's not reaching above 80%. of how fast he really can go.
Yeah.
And that's a learned skill. I think that is absolutely how you want to function. You want to catch people off guard the second that you do go 100. And you see it in transition sometimes, but he's the one that I really look at where I'm like, nah, this guy's just a little different. He's got it from the mid range, and especially now he's got it from 3 a little bit.
Yeah.
Had some conversations a little bit throughout the course of this offseason that made me believe that I think that volume is going to go down a little bit or be a little bit more selective about the best times to be shooting those 3 balls, because his bread and butter is still going to be around the rim. But I think essentially those mid-range shots will turn even more so into 3s, and you'll mix it in when you need to in the fourth quarter, obviously. But I think that there is absolutely an aspect there of just when you watch De'Aaron Fox, in my mind, it's fairly clear that like this dude is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear if you watch him for a long enough time that you'll just see, like you said, I mean, he's doing things that other players can't do. It's the speed. It is the fact, I think, that you make a great point in talking about him going 80%. I think that's the biggest development that he would say from just his rookie season on is learning you don't have to play at 100%. And like you put perfectly, using that 100% almost as a weapon to say, no, you think this is the fastest I can go, but when I reach that 100%, that's when you fully understand just how ridiculous this thing is. And yeah, I definitely would like to see De'Aaron maybe go with a week or 2 of kind of having down opponents, because that's our down teammates, I should say, because we really haven't seen De'Aaron Fox be put in a situation. Obviously, Sabonis played 82 games last year where it's really like, De'Aaron Fox, can you go Jalen Brunson mode? I think that's the thing that maybe makes people have some level of hesitation, is they've wanted Fox to step up and haven't really seen him bust through the gate like that. I think if he were to be given the avenue to really shine, I don't see why we wouldn't see De'Aaron Fox average 35 points for a given week or so. I think he's got a lot more that he can show us. It's just he hasn't really been asked to, in the situation hasn't really presented itself. So I definitely think De'Aaron is head and shoulders above everybody else when it comes to being the best player on the team. But yeah, maybe most important, maybe most irreplaceable can be a different conversation. As you know, if De'Aaron does go out, you still have DeMar, you still have Malik to maybe swell him, where Domantas Sabonis is out. Alex Len just isn't quite bringing the same level of juice. So definitely an interesting conversation, and maybe we can get into at some point here today the most important King to their success. But coming up next, we're going to shift this conversation over to the 49ers